It started with a small, white lie. You know the one. Maybe it was to dodge some trouble, or to keep from hurting someone's feelings. But then, you had to tell another lie to cover that first one, and then another. Suddenly, you're tangled in a web of your own making, and the fear of getting caught is just overwhelming. The mental energy it takes to keep it all straight is exhausting, like your brain is running a dozen secret apps in the background, all the time. You have to remember what you said, who you said it to, and which version of the story they got. What if the way out isn't to get better at lying, but to finally understand the deep-seated fear that made you lie in the first place? In this video, we're going to uncover the real reasons we lie and how you can finally break free. Living in that web of lies is a high-stress, full-time job. It's a constant, low-grade buzz of anxiety, that quiet hum of fear that you're about to be found out. Every phone notification, every unexpected, "Hey, can I ask you something?" feels like a potential bombshell. This isn't just mentally draining. It's incredibly isolating. The very lies you might be telling to keep people close are the same lies that build a wall, blocking any real connection. It's a paradox. You can be surrounded by people but feel completely alone because nobody really knows you. They just know the character you're playing. And this constant performance doesn't just erode other people's trust in you. It erodes your trust in yourself. Every lie can feed a nasty cycle of shame, whispering that you're a bad person, that if people knew the real you, they'd be gone in a second. And that shame? It usually just leads to more lying. To break this cycle, to actually dismantle the web instead of just patching the holes, we have to get real about why we started weaving it. To break free from the cage, you first have to understand how you built it. Lying is rarely a simple character flaw. It's a strategy. It's a tool we learn, often when we're young, to deal with a world that feels complicated and scary. The reasons we lie are complex, but they almost always boil down to a few core fears. So, let's get into the 4 biggest psychological drivers behind our lies. This is the big one, the most common reason people lie. It's a basic, almost instinctual drive for self-preservation. Think of a kid who breaks a lamp, and when their parents ask what happened, immediately blurts out, "Not me." They're not being evil. Their brain, terrified of getting yelled at, just hit the emergency eject button. As adults, the situations change, but the wiring stays the same. We lie about missing a deadline because we don't want to face the boss's anger. We lie about how much something costs to avoid a partner's judgment. These are defensive moves, a shield we throw up against threats, whether they're emotional, financial, or social. The lie is just an attempt to protect ourselves when we feel totally exposed. Yes, I absolutely love the weird, experimental dinner you made. No, that haircut doesn't make your head look like a block of cheese. Sound familiar? Welcome to the world of the white lie, which we usually tell to spare someone's feelings, or, let's be honest, to spare ourselves the discomfort of a difficult conversation. This is all about conflict avoidance. For a lot of us, the idea of creating disappointment or making someone angry is so uncomfortable that a tiny lie feels like a harmless social lubricant. It just keeps the peace, right? The problem is, when this becomes a habit, we start trading authenticity for quiet. We accidentally teach ourselves and the people around us that our relationships are too fragile to handle the truth. This can stop real issues from ever being talked about, letting resentment build up under a surface of fake harmony. This one is all about managing how people see us. We're social creatures, and we have a deep need to belong and be accepted. So, when we feel like our real life isn't quite measuring up, we might invent a better one. This looks like exaggerating our job title on a dating app, making up exciting weekend plans when we just stayed home, or embellishing a story to sound more witty and competent. This kind of lie is often rooted in low self-esteem. We build a false self, an idealized version of us that we hope will finally get the approval we crave. Lying, in this case, gives us a fake sense of control over our own image. It's a way to spin a story that we think is more impressive than our authentic self, who we're afraid would just be rejected. Tied directly to the need for approval is the crushing weight of perfectionism. Perfectionists live under intense pressure to be flawless. For them, a mistake isn't just a simple screw-up, it's proof of their fundamental failure as a person. So when they make a mistake, what happens? They lie to hide it. They deny it, they shift the blame, or they weave elaborate tales to cover up that one little imperfection. This isn't about some grand movie villain deception. It's about hiding the cracks in their carefully built armor of perfection. The lie is a desperate attempt to maintain an impossible standard and to avoid the shame they believe is waiting for them the second their humanness is exposed. One-off lies fueled by fear are one thing. But what happens when lying stops being a choice and becomes an automatic reflex? That's the jump from occasional deception to compulsive lying. For many, this pattern begins in a childhood where telling the truth led to harsh punishment, shame, or rejection. A lie might have been the only tool a kid had to avoid harm, feel a sliver of control, or get a little affection in a chaotic home. In those cases, lying wasn't a moral failure. It was an adaptive trauma response. The brain literally rewired itself to connect truth with danger and deception with safety. As that child becomes an adult, the original threat might be long gone, but that neural pathway is still there. Lying becomes the default coping mechanism for anything that triggers anxiety or insecurity. This is what we call compulsive lying. Unlike pathological liars, who might lie for personal gain and even believe their own stories, compulsive liars often feel terrible guilt and shame. They find themselves lying about small, meaningless things for no obvious reason, driven by an impulse they can't seem to control. It's a ghost of an old survival strategy, now haunting their present and creating the exact isolation they've always feared. Understanding why you lie is the first, most important step. It shifts the problem from "I am a bad person" to "I am using a bad strategy." Now, let's talk about the how. How do you start untangling this web and find your way back to the truth? This isn't about flipping a switch. It's a process of rebuilding trust with yourself and learning new, better ways to feel safe. Step 1. Practice radical self-compassion. First things first, stop beating yourself up. Your lying isn't proof that you're a bad person. It's proof that at some point, lying felt like your safest or only option. It's a misguided form of self-protection. So, instead of piling more shame on top of the fear, try to get curious. When you feel the urge to lie, just pause and ask yourself, what am I so afraid of right now? Acknowledge that fear. See the insecurity that's driving the impulse. When you see the lie as a symptom of a deeper wound, you can finally start treating the cause instead of just fighting the behavior. This compassion isn't an excuse, but it's the absolute non-negotiable first step to changing. Step 2. Start small with low-stakes honesty. Trying to fix everything at once is a recipe for disaster. You don't need to go on a grand confession tour. Instead, start practicing honesty in situations where the stakes are low. It can be as simple as telling a friend, "Actually, I haven't seen that movie," instead of just nodding along. Or saying, "I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed right now. Can we talk about this later?" Instead of making up a fake excuse to get off the phone. Each time you choose a small truth over a small lie, you're doing a rep for your honesty muscle. You're gathering real-world proof that your world doesn't fall apart when you're authentic. You're literally carving out new pathways in your brain, showing yourself one tiny truth at a time that you can handle your own reality. Step 3. Embrace the discomfort of radical honesty. Ultimately, breaking free means committing to what some call radical honesty. Now, this doesn't mean being a jerk or blurting out every unfiltered thought. You can and should still be kind. And you never have to share parts of your life you want to keep private. A simple, "I'm not comfortable talking about that," is a perfectly honest answer. Radical honesty is about committing to the truth, especially when it's uncomfortable. It means learning to sit with the very feelings you started lying to avoid. The fear of disapproval, the sting of rejection, the awkwardness of a disagreement. It's about having faith that the real you is worthy of connection, flaws and all. It's about discovering that true intimacy is only possible on the other side of that fear, in the clear, open space of authenticity. The journey isn't a straight line, and you'll probably slip up. That's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing to come back to the truth and back to yourself. That tangled web of lies almost always starts with a single thread of fear. Fear of being punished, of conflict, of not being good enough. We've seen how that fear can twist a choice into a compulsive habit, trapping us in a loop of anxiety and isolation. But the way out isn't to get better at lying. The way out is to bravely and kindly face the fears that got you here. By practicing self-compassion, starting with small, manageable truths, and learning to tolerate the discomfort of being real, you can untangle that web, one thread at a time, and step into the freedom of an honest life. It's a journey back home to yourself. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And for more content on building a better relationship with yourself and others, make sure to subscribe.